Giving. Webster's dictionary, if you look it up, defines the verb to give as to freely transfer the possession of something to someone. Tonight I'd like to perhaps add to this definition based on what we have seen and learned over the last 8+ years. To give is to build. As we read in Pirkei Avos, Olam Chesed Yibana, Hashem created this world to give to us. In giving, we are following in His footsteps and building worlds. We are building ourselves and others, building bridges from one person to the next, standing shoulder to shoulder in a unified effort. We are building Achiezer. Tonight, we at Achiezer and we in this special community are blessed to be able to pay tribute to 5 separate families and selfless individuals who personify giving in its purest, unadulterated form. For those of you who don't already know, you will soon see, yes, we'll move this along quite quickly, in vivid detail, that each individual who will stand on this stage tonight live their lives as givers and spend their days giving, and they really don't stop ever giving. If you ask them, why do you lead your lives this way? There really is no conceivable answer, other than this is what is natural to them. A Rav, a businessman, a healthcare professional, a surgeon, and dedicated local store owners, all with one common denominator. They don't stop giving for others. Yes, they deserve it. Nearly 9 years ago, as we went from Rav to Rav in the community, humbly beginning in a 50-foot square foot office with a couple of desks on top of each other, even the most optimistic among us couldn't have dreamed how far this community, yes, not how far Achiezer has come, but how far this community has come. Nobody could have anticipated the boundless chesed that happens daily within our community. I need to pause for a moment. Shlomo, if you can go out over there and tell them to settle down. Thank you. I'm looking around this entire room tonight. People that are not coming on this stage tonight, they do incredible things for other people. They give their time, they give their efforts, they give their money when it hurts, because they can't relax when somebody else is in need. And I am humbled to be a part of that group. There was a cardiologist who would care for a patient. Why? Because he wanted to be there for somebody. It didn't make a difference if he was being paid. It didn't make a difference if it wasn't the right time or for his hours. It just meant that somebody needed help. And when we first started, people challenged the concept that we could just make an organization that revolved around helping people. And this same cardiologist realized that hearts were beating the same way on both sides of the 878. Tonight's dinner and what we see around this room is the ultimate rebuttal and testament to the fact that whether you are a Rebbe in Far Rockaway, an electrician in Bayswater, a lawyer in Woodmere, a plumber in Queens, or a healthcare professional from Lawrence, it makes no difference, because what bands us together is the inherent need to do for each other. We hope that as long as we stick with this mantra, the greatest things can and will continue to be accomplished. This dinner, this organization, and this amazing community stems from the fact that we are all givers. We all have that inherent need, the desire to give, and mild differences, such as the color of our shirts, the fabric of our yarmulkes, or the shuls in which we daven, have not, cannot, and should not ever make a difference. And thus we have come to a point where so many services are available to the community with literally just one call. In what other community can you find, yes, a real number, more than 300 men, women, girls, boy volunteers who will do anything they can to help somebody else in need? In what other community can you find dozens of mental health professionals, led by our very own Dr. Baruch Ber, who will do whatever it takes to make sure that nobody ever suffers in silence or in anguish? Thank you, Dr. Ber, for all that you do. Last year, I stood up at this podium, it was a different location, and we announced that because of the graciousness of Shalom and Rena Veg and the Westwood Realty Group, we were going to launch a new division that was going to help families sustain financial stability and be able to live their lives like anybody else. And I'm so humbled to tell you tonight, these announcements, they're nice. Advertisements, even nicer. But actions speak louder than words. And in that year since, dozens, nearly hundreds of families in our community have finally been able to stop suffering and finally been able to achieve real financial stability, go into a grocery store with dignity because of that dedication. And I'm humbled and thankful to them, as we all are. Thank you so much. In what other community can you find thousands of medical referrals being given annually that would not ever take place without dozens of physicians, surgeons, dentists, and so many other professionals who are here in this room tonight who are always willing to step up to the plate, no matter the time, like I said earlier, no matter the effort, no matter the cost, because simply they care. And finally, where besides this community could you find a Zichron David Chesed Shalemus initiative? This was recently dedicated Lila Nishmas Rav David Adest, who passed away not too long ago. Rav David Adest was a David HaKohen and Yitzhak Mordechai. This amazing initiative has community members from every walk of life who have come together at Chas v'Shalom whenever somebody passes away. No mace, no grieving family will ever be left alone, and these people will be treated like our own. And I want to tell you, yes, they can be clapped, thank you. Last night, I don't think it was 24 hours ago, a phone call came. It was a local family that was connected, normal, Baruch Hashem, no issues. But the unexpected happened, somebody passed away, and they were at a total loss. And 3 or 4 people that sit in this room tonight, while everybody was enjoying their Matzah Shabbos, and they went to do a Kadosh Baruch Hu's work, to take care of a mace right in our community, and they did it in the most beautiful, dignified fashion. No cameras, no lights, and nobody will ever know. And we hope that all of these listeners from this initiative will be in honor of Rav David Adest, Olav Shalom. I'd like to end with a thought I heard from my dear cousin, Rav Ephraim Shapiro from Miami Beach. In Parshas Vayeshev, when Yaakov Avinu sends Yosef to check on his brothers, we read in the pasuk, Re'eh eshalom achecha ve'eshalom hatzon. Go check on the welfare of your brothers and the welfare of their sheep. The question is obvious. We know that the Torah never ever uses an extra letter, an extra word. Why couldn't the pasuk just have said, go check on the welfare of your brothers, and then you can go check on the sheep? The answer is, Yaakov Avinu was teaching Yosef a lesson, but not only Yosef a lesson. After I heard this word, I realized he was teaching a lesson to each and every one of us here in 2016. If the word shalom was only used once, we would think that the same definition is appropriate to be used for the achecha, for our brothers, and for the sheep. But he was teaching him that shalom hatzon is not shalom achecha. What does it mean for sheep to be happy? If I have and my sheep are grazing, I'm good. If yours don't have and mine have, I'm still good. Yaakov Avinu is telling us that mentality is good for sheep, it's good for animals. But for achecha, for our brothers, that mentality cannot and will not work. Our definition is, if I have, but somebody else does not have, then I truly do not have. If I have a nice, comfortable, steely prostrated bed, and my friend is bouncing around in a broken down home, I can't sleep comfortably at nighttime. If I'm driving in a comfortable car, and my friend can't even get into a car because he can't make his leasing payments, then how can I drive comfortably? If I'm sitting down to a wonderful steak dinner, but I have someone around the corner, and it really happens that hasn't had meat in a year because they simply can't afford it, how can we live our lives that way? This is what Yaakov was saying. That type of shalom is good for sheep, but it's not good for achecha, for our brothers. I'm so humbled and gratified and lucky to be in the position that I am in, where I see so many people in our Rockaway Five Towns community that literally cannot live, cannot be happy, and cannot be satisfied unless their friends and neighbors have what they have. And that is the community that we are lucky to be a part of. It's a good sign. I'm closing the book. I'd like to end with a bracha, perhaps, that together, with no division amongst us, and no differences among us, each and every one of us should be lucky enough, should be zocha, that we forever and always remain and will be on the giving end. Thank you so much for listening.